neither the venue nor the opposition that Peter Taylor would have chosen. He cast an envious glance at the Arsenal team sheet when it was handed in. There's a first start for Giovanni van Bronckhorst, earmarked for the role once held by Petit, and Dennis Bergkamp is preferred to Thierry Henry. Would that Leicester had such quandaries. Their selection was complicated by the loss of skipper Matt Elliott to illness and Davidson and Sturridge to injury. Jamie Scowcroft makes his debut, and 19-year-old Jordan Stewart gets a first Premiership start in a reshaped five-man defence. For Leicester, it may be a seminal day. They've lost 10 of their last 11 Premiership matches, 12 in a row away from home. They've conceded 8 goals here on 3 occasions. But hey, who's counting? Even without the weight of history, their task, I think, is difficult enough. And it's the quality of the performance as much as the result that'll be seen as significant by those who sit in judgment on the manager. Andy D'Urso, the man in charge, he was the 4th official when Leeds played here on Tuesday. He had an awful lot to write down in his little black book. Adams. Now Dennis Wise. Always enjoys a spat with Arsenal. Perez. Bergkamp. And Dennis Bergkamp. A fraction wide after barely a minute of play. Oh, Leicester hearts would have been in Leicester mouths. It wasn't so much that the defence opened up, merely that Bergkamp spotted a chink of light. And from there, you'd have backed him to score. Wise. Now Lauren. Perez. For Ljungberg. Bergkamp is forward. Wiltor is forward. And no attempt made to play the ball by Sinclair. It's going to be the first caution of the game. Campbell, Vieira, Adams, all waiting. And there's Campbell. Didn't get to it cleanly because Scowcroft tracked back. Launching pad for so many Arsenal attacks. Patrick Vieira. Great pass to Perez. 4 waiting. And Sinclair behind. Thwarting the best move of the game so far. Van Bronckhorst to take. Vieira. And Adams just managed to keep it in. Perez likewise. Still the players stationed as for the set piece. Perez. And tucked away. Easy as you like by Freddie Ljungberg. It had been coming. Relentless Arsenal pressure. Simple move to cut asunder the Leicester rearguard. And a 7th goal in his last 10 starts for the Swede. That's what you call being caught horribly square. Wise trying to take control with the help of Izzet, who was fouled by Vieira. And the referee wants a word. And Vieira, I think, is a little unfortunate to go into the notebook. It's his first offence. It wasn't a particularly heinous crime. But a caution it is. He might even argue that he made contact with the ball. Wise. Oh, and Scowcroft sliding in, inches away. Wiltor. Bergkamp, lovely. Pires, and surely Wiltor for 2-0. His 50th game for the club, marked with a goal that was beautifully set up, particularly by Bergkamp, and then the thought and unselfishness of Pires. But Bergkamp's back heel was exquisite, and from there the rest was not difficult. Very difficult to defend against. In Leicester's case, impossible. Bergkamp, Wiltor, Vieira, and Bergkamp has found some space, which in itself was an achievement because Leicester players were scurrying hither and thither. Arsenal are in the sort of mood that they exhibited against Leeds in the first half the other night. At times, unstoppable. The brow may well become more furrowed before the afternoon is out. Cole. Behind by Marshall. Seems to be some backspin on the ball. Ljungberg is limping for Arsenal. We'll wait until half-time for attention. Van Bronckhorst. Sol Campbell. Man on the post, but Flowers made the save anyway. Made solid contact, the new centre-back. Wiltor. Vieira. Master of all he surveys. And more besides. Wiltor. Bergkamp. Lovely adjustment of the feet. But having achieved that, couldn't quite control the ball as he might have wished, and all stemming from the most dexterous piece of work by Patrick Vieira. Bergkamp just finding the ball coming a little further behind him than he'd expected. Vieira. Ljungberg. Dying seconds of the first half. And it just slipped out of play. Arsenal have been a joy to watch and thoroughly deserved their half-time advantage. Leicester, frankly, have struggled to stay with the pace. Half-time at Highbury, Arsenal leading Leicester 2-0. No changes in personnel to either side at half-time. Leicester somewhat limited in that department now, having been forced to use already 2 of their permitted 3 substitutes. This is Pires. Wise. Campbell. Delaney. Scowcroft. Given away to Bergkamp. Marshall. Left by Scowcroft for Akinbaye. Now Impey. Back in Bailly. Out by Adams. And Savage tangling with Ljungberg. Savage, who was cautioned in the first half. Showed more to wrestling than football. Pires. Scowcroft who brought him down. Adams has stayed back and is barking instructions from the halfway line. Most of them directed at Lauren for not getting across to take this. Wiltor. Flowers was really struggling to get across his goal. Marshall. Wiltor. Vieira. Wise snapping at his heels. And some words of wisdom from Dennis Wise. Words of abusive wisdom. Now Vieira is being called across, and so is Wise as a result of this little spat. Adams becoming involved in his role as skipper. And the advice from the referee Andy D'Urso just seems to be to calm down. Cole. Ljungberg. And Dennis Wise has transgressed once too often. One had been making a list of predictions before today's game. The fact that Dennis Wise's name would go into the referee's book would have been fairly high on it. He's being cautioned for the 9th time in 9 seasons against Arsenal. This must be immensely frustrating for a player who's enjoyed so many successes. One hopes that he keeps his excesses to himself. Lauren. Van Bronckhorst. Cole to his left. Ljungberg. And Marshall in the way. Adams. Cole. At times it's like a keep ball session in training for Arsenal. Pires. Cole away from Savage. Vieira. Van Bronckhorst. Now Ljungberg. That could be a Leicester free kick. Bad tackle from behind by Delaney. On Pires, Wise isn't helping by going and telling Pires to get up. And Dennis Wise is gradually losing the plot. There is a history to this in that in the FA Cup last season when playing for Chelsea, Wise was the victim of a bad tackle by Pires, responded by goading the Frenchman. And then there was quite a bust-up that ensued. On this occasion, though, Delaney is the main transgressor. Came right through the back of Robert Pires. Oh, and Dennis Wise is off. Dennis Wise sent off for revisiting his feud with Pires. Oh, and Vieira goes as well. Patrick Vieira, unluckily booked in the first half, has also seen red. And this flurry of Premiership dismissals continues. And you've got short odds against Vieira and Wise being the two to go, if any were going to depart early. And still the referee hasn't finished. Straight red shown to Wise and to Vieira. But still the writing goes on in the notebook by Andy D'Urso. This game has simmered below the surface. We're now down to 10 aside. Really through the stupidity of two of the senior players. Pires. Lauren. Wiltor. Saved by Flowers almost in slow motion. Man picked out very clinically. Finish didn't describe the description of clinical. Substitution apiece. Great rejoicing around Highbury that Thierry Henry is on in place of Wiltor. No reflection on his fellow Frenchman. And Scowcroft replaced by Matthew Jones in Leicester's last throw. Stewart. Lewis loping up outside him. Campbell. Bergkamp, and here comes Pires. Two to his left, Henry and Cole. It's Henry, and it was blocked by the heel of Impey, when really Arsenal should have extended their lead. But there's no question that the extra speed of Thierry Henry is really troubling Leicester City. Delaney. Savage. Stewart. Van Bronckhorst. Henry on his starting blocks, and he's timed it well. He's onside. And what a disappointing anticlimactic finish. Although one senses his moment may well still come. The trap, such as it was, sprung with ease, and the chance fluffed. Bergkamp will have enjoyed this. Able to impress from the start. A lovely back heel for one of the goals. And a very warm ovation. Quarter of an hour to play, and on comes Kanu. The welcome that Arsenal give him always make it seem like he's very unpopular, but that's just their way of showing affection. Although quite how much of a future he's got at Highbury is open to some question. Perez. Adams. It's safe to have a gallop forward. Henry. Away from Savage, referee might have played the advantage. Henry would have liked him to. Would at least have been nice to see whether the advantage would have accrued, which is within the discretion of match officials. Perez. Kanu. Henry! A half-century of goals for Arsenal. Flowers and Leicester on their knees. And on a predictable day, with the dismissals of Vieira and Wise, a predictable goal scorer. The scoreline at last beginning to reflect Arsenal's true superiority. Horrible deflection, left the goalkeeper completely wrong-footed. Junior Lewis looked to be the unfortunate player to get in the way of Henry's shot. All of this puts the Leicester City Football Club chairman John Elsom in an unenviable position. Pressure coming in his direction from the PLC company, but it's he who'll decide Peter Taylor's ultimate fate. Lauren. Henry. Perez. A good candidate for man of the match. Van Bronckhorst. Grimandi. Lauren. After the traumatic home defeat by Leeds, this is just what Arsenal needed, a relatively easy run out. Grimandi. Kanu. Perez deserves one. That's an excellent save, though, by Flowers. Spread himself and made himself as big as he possibly could. Now Lauren. Perez. Oh, and Marshall. Perilously close to his own goal. And in fact, over the goal line for a corner. But didn't Flowers do well to keep out Robert Perez? Richly deserving of a goal, Perez. That really is top-class keeping. Deep into stoppage time. So we've seen 3, is it to be 4? Van Bronckhorst, Savage, Grimandi. Oh, Henry, good save, Kanu! Oh, that's cruel, on poor Tim Flowers. Who has done his utmost to keep the scoreline respectable, but Kanu has spoilt all that. Debatable as to how much of a future Kanu has here at Highbury. But after Henry had been thwarted, Flowers was helpless. It turns it into something of a rout. And what's agonising is that it was the final act of the game. Arsenal back on track in the Barclaycard Premiership, a match scarred by the antics of 2 serial offenders, yet graced by the silky skills of Arsenal. Leicester willing but limited, more committed than against Bolton, but will a game of 2 dismissals bring us closer to a 3rd? Peter Taylor's position is now precarious, to say the least. Full time, Arsenal 4, Leicester 0.
Dennis, let's deal with you first. You didn't have any arguments about you actually being sent off, did you? Headbutted him?
Yeah, I think 2 yellow cards are acceptable. I think I got a straight red. Patrick got another yellow, and I don't think that's acceptable, to be honest, because we put our heads together. Simple as that. I think the referee sent me off for headbutting, but he's 6'4" and he needs to come down first before he puts his head onto my head.
I put my head down because he's more shorter than me, so...
But the intent is a red card, isn't it?
I don't know. For me, it's difficult to accept it because I don't think I will deserve it. But if the ref gives me that red card, that means for him, I deserve it. And I think everyone will see the things on the TV, will make their own decision and their own opinion. So for myself, I don't think I deserve the red card, but I just have to accept it and look forward for the next game.
More sendings off here this week. What was your view of that particular sending off with Vieira and Wise?
I wouldn't have sent off Patrick Vieira today, because he looked, it was not aggressive and just, I don't know, but it looked harsh to me.
Well, joining us now is the Leicester manager, Peter Taylor. It's been a tough week, Peter.
Yes, a very tough week, Des, but just got to get on with it.
What was your view of your performance today?
Well, we played against an excellent team. It was certainly better than last week, but unfortunately, I think with the quality of the Arsenal team, we were just chasing the game all the time.
Of course, Dennis Wise getting sent off didn't help.
No, but of course they went down to 10 men as well, so there's certainly no excuses on our part, but it was a very hot day, and when it's as hot as it was today, I don't think you fancy playing against a good passing team.
How confident are you that you can turn things round at Leicester?
I'm very confident. I think that the lads worked as hard as they can, and they'll carry on doing that until we get some results.
You confident you'll be given the chance to do it?
I hope so, Des. I hope so. I'm confident in my own ability, and it's a big challenge, and I want to do it.
Of course, they were out for your blood after game 1, weren't they?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think that the Bolton performance was a very poor performance, so I can understand the frustrations of everybody, and it was not acceptable, and I can only hold my hands up to that. Today was better, but it means that we've got no points from 2 games.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Peter.
Thank you.
Well, more about Peter in a moment, but first, deal with those sendings off for us, Ali, your view.
Well, I'm not having them as sending offs. I think that they've already been yellow carded, which we saw happen. But I think that the referee should show a little bit more common sense, Des. And you can say the players should show more common sense, but it all stems from, I think it was Delaney's tackling Perez. And up the top left-hand corner screen, you can see Wise and Vieira square up to each other.
Wasn't a headbutt, was it?
No, it's not headbutts. That's actually a term of endearment in Glasgow, that. Honest, I mean, there's nothing in that. You saw the other game, the West Ham game, you saw Paul Durkin, the referee, show, I think, common sense with Di Canio and Mills. I mean, he could have sent Di Canio off, but he never did. There was nothing in it. Di Canio's one of his characters, and he showed common sense, pulled the two of them together, had a word with them, and I honestly think he should have done the same there.
Okay. Now, Dennis Bergkamp was preferred to Thierry Henry to start today. Was that a surprise to you? How well did he play for you?
I thought for the first half he was absolutely different class, Des. I mean, he scored 2 goals at Borough. I thought if there's a player in the Premiership with more awareness of players around him, then I've yet to see it. He see Leicester give the ball away in the midfield, and Dennis is in the inside left channel, peeling off. Now, his touch here to wrong foot Gary Rowett is absolute magic. There it is there. Gives himself the yard, not even half a yard, gives himself a yard, and he probably should have scored there. Here again, turns around, he's got a vision, sees Van Bronckhorst making the run, and it's a great ball. And I think Van Bronckhorst could probably went to a little bit more conviction here. The flick here, talking about the awareness of players around him. He knows Perez is running behind him. You need to have eyes in the back of your head to see him. He knows he's there and flicks the ball through to him. I thought, honestly, I think Bergkamp was outstanding first half.
Yeah. Now, what your view on the Peter Taylor situation, Terry? I mean, poor chap. I mean, he played 1 game last week. All right, they got thumped badly at home. He's immediately under huge pressure. Is that fair?
Well, I've seen after 6, 7, 8 games, and people say there's a crisis, but 1 I've never seen. I find that amazing after all his preparation and so forth. I just find that, his bias. They've got to give him 10, 12 games. Was
it to do with a bad run last season? I mean, at one stage last season, he's a brilliant manager. Then he had a bad run.
Yeah, but I think you assess that at the end of the season. You say, well, he's not done it. That's their decision if they want to move you on. Once they've said, give him this season, it's a new, fresh start. And there's 3 teams at the bottom with no points, 3 above those with 1. So there's 6 of them.
It's early.
And it's very early.
It's early.